We compared Aldi and Lidl. The cheapest one will surprise you: two supermarkets. Almost identical prices. Nearly identical products. And yet, one of them might be quietly costing you more than you think. For years, millions of UK shoppers have argued about one question: is Aldi really cheaper, or is Lidl secretly the better deal? Both stores promise rock-bottom prices. Both claim unbeatable value. Both are packed every day with shoppers convinced they've found the cheapest groceries in Britain. But when we decided to run a real comparison, something strange happened. Some prices didn't make sense. Certain products were dramatically cheaper in one store. Others looked cheaper, but actually weren't. And a few items revealed something even more surprising. So which supermarket truly wins? Is Aldi the bargain king? Or is Lidl hiding the biggest savings in plain sight? Today, we're exposing the truth behind Britain's two biggest discount supermarkets. And by the end of this video, you may never shop the same way again. Discount supermarkets have completely changed the way the UK shops. Just 20 years ago, the big players dominated everything. Massive stores. Higher prices. Fancy branding. Then two German retailers entered the battlefield. Quietly. Aggressively. And with one simple promise: lower prices for everyone. Today, Aldi and Lidl are responsible for one of the biggest supermarket revolutions in British history. Millions of families rely on them to keep food bills under control. But here's the question almost nobody asks: are they actually as cheap as they claim? Because when you start comparing products, when you analyze pricing tricks, when you look at hidden strategies used inside the aisles, a very different story begins to emerge. A story involving clever psychology, unexpected price traps, and a shocking discovery about which supermarket might actually save you the most money. But first, we had to test them ourselves. Section 1: The Battle of the Discounters. Aldi and Lidl look incredibly similar. Simple stores. Limited product ranges. Own brand items instead of expensive labels. And famously low prices. But this similarity isn't an accident. Both companies were founded in Germany. Both built their empires around one powerful strategy: extreme efficiency. Fewer staff. Smaller stores. Faster checkouts. Limited product choices. All designed to reduce costs. And those savings? They are passed on to customers. At least, that's the promise. But when we compared dozens of everyday groceries across both stores, patterns started to appear. Some items were consistently cheaper in Aldi. Others were always cheaper in Lidl. And a few categories revealed something completely unexpected. The real battle between these two supermarkets isn't obvious. It's hidden in the details. And the first clue appears in one of the most common items in every shopping basket: milk. Section 2: The Essential Items Test. Let's start with the basics. Milk. Bread. Eggs. Butter. The items almost everyone buys. At first glance, Aldi and Lidl prices look nearly identical. But tiny differences add up quickly. For example, a standard 4-pint bottle of milk. In many UK locations, both stores sell it at nearly the same price. But occasionally, Lidl undercuts Aldi by a few pence. That may not sound like much. But across a year of weekly shopping, those pennies add up. Bread tells a similar story. Basic white loaves are extremely close in price. However, Lidl often offers slightly cheaper bakery options. And Lidl's in-store bakery introduces something Aldi simply doesn't have: fresh pastries, fresh bread, and heavily discounted baked goods late in the day. Suddenly, the cheapest supermarket title becomes less clear. But the real surprise appears in another everyday product: eggs. Large free-range eggs frequently swing between the two stores. Sometimes Aldi wins. Sometimes Lidl. Meaning the cheapest option actually depends on timing and promotions. And this raises a critical question. If Essential items constantly switch price advantage. Which store really saves shoppers the most money overall? The answer lies deeper inside the aisles. Section 3, the private label secret. Here's something most shoppers don't realize. Nearly 90% of products in Aldi and Lidl are own brand items. That's dramatically higher than traditional supermarkets. And it's a huge reason their prices stay low. But there's a hidden twist. These private labels are often made by the same manufacturers that produce famous brands. In some cases, the product inside is nearly identical, just packaged differently. But Aldi and Lidl approach private labels in very different ways. Aldi focuses heavily on consistent product lines. Their own brands rarely change, which keeps supply chains extremely efficient. Lidl, however, constantly rotates products. Weekly deals, seasonal imports, special European foods. This creates excitement. But it also means prices sometimes fluctuate more. And here's where shoppers start noticing something interesting. Lidl's rotating promotions can produce incredible short-term bargains. But Aldi's stable product range often keeps prices lower in the long run. So which strategy is better? That depends on how you shop. And the next discovery made that difference even clearer. Section 4, Special buys, trap. Walk into Aldi or Lidl on the right day, and you might find something unexpected. Power tools, kitchen gadgets, garden furniture, even electronics. These are the famous middle aisle deals. At Aldi, they are called special buys. At Lidl, they are simply weekly promotions. And they attract massive crowds. But here's the truth. These deals are designed for one purpose: impulse buying. Customers enter the store for cheap groceries, then suddenly see a discounted air fryer, or a bargain coffee machine, or a limited edition kitchen appliance. And just like that, the shopping basket doubles in price. Retail experts call this the treasure hunt effect. The excitement of limited deals makes shoppers feel like they're saving money, even when they are actually spending more. So while Aldi and Lidl compete aggressively on food prices, their middle aisles quietly increase overall spending. And this leads to a shocking statistic. Studies have shown many shoppers leave discount supermarkets spending more than planned. Would you fall for it? Or would you walk past those tempting deals? Because the final comparison revealed something that surprised even us. Section 5, the final price comparison. To settle the debate, we compared a typical weekly shop. Milk, bread, eggs, fruit, vegetables, chicken, pasta, rice, cheese, and a handful of snacks. The result? The total price difference between Aldi and Lidl was shockingly small. Often just a few pounds. Sometimes Aldi won. Sometimes Lidl did. Meaning there is no single permanent winner. But one surprising trend appeared. Lidl often offers better deals when promotions are active. But Aldi tends to keep prices more consistently low across the entire range. In other words, Lidl may win short-term price battles, but Aldi frequently wins the long-term cost war. And that's something many shoppers never realize. Shocking revelations. Here are a few discoveries that stunned many shoppers. Some Aldi and Lidl products come from the exact same factories as big brands. Price differences between the two stores can change weekly. The famous middle aisle deals often increase total spending dramatically. And the cheapest supermarket today might not be the cheapest next week. So the real secret isn't choosing one store forever. It's knowing how to shop smarter. Solutions: safe choices. If you want to save the most money possible, here are a few expert tips. 1. Compare weekly promotions. Sometimes Lidl's rotating deals beat Aldi's prices. 2. Stick to your shopping list. The middle aisle is designed to tempt you. 3. Focus on store brands. They are often made by the same manufacturers as famous brands. 4. Check unit prices. Sometimes larger packs offer better value. 5. Try both stores. Many smart shoppers alternate between Aldi and Lidl each week. Because in the end, the real winner is the shopper who pays attention. Powerful OUTRO Aldi and Lidl have changed the way Britain shops. They've forced giant supermarkets to lower prices. They've saved families billions of pounds. But the battle between them is far from over. Prices change. Deals rotate. Strategies evolve. And the cheapest store today may not be the cheapest tomorrow. So next time you walk through those automatic doors, take a closer look at your basket. Because the real question isn't just which supermarket is cheaper. It's this: you shopping smart enough to win the savings game? If you enjoyed this investigation, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments, do you prefer Aldi or Lidl? And more importantly, have you ever discovered a deal that shocked you? Because in our next video, we're exposing even more supermarket secrets most shoppers never notice. And trust me, you won't want to miss it. Section 6, the quality question most shoppers ignore. Price is only half the story. Because cheap food isn't really cheap if the quality is poor. And this is where the Aldi versus Lidl debate becomes even more interesting. Over the past decade, both supermarkets have quietly transformed their reputations. Once considered budget-only stores, they now regularly compete with premium supermarkets in blind taste tests. In fact, many own-brand products from these stores have beaten famous brands in national competitions. But the quality battle between Aldi and Lidl still reveals some subtle differences. Aldi focuses heavily on consistency. Their products rarely change suppliers. That means the taste of a product you buy today is likely the same next month, and even next year. Lidl, on the other hand, is more experimental. Their ranges rotate more frequently. New products appear. Old ones disappear. For adventurous shoppers, this can be exciting. But for families who prefer reliability, it can sometimes feel unpredictable. And this difference creates an interesting shopping pattern. Aldi tends to win with customers who want stable weekly shopping. Lidl attracts shoppers looking for unexpected deals and new products. But the real quality surprise comes from something almost nobody expects. Premium products. Section 7, the premium product paradox. Walk through either supermarket and you'll notice something unusual. Luxury food, in a discount store. Special cheeses. Imported chocolates. High-end desserts. Restaurant-style ready meals. At first, it feels strange. But this is actually one of the smartest strategies both retailers use. It's called the premium paradox. Here's how it works. A shopper enters the store expecting extremely low prices. Their guard drops. Then suddenly they see a premium product that looks far cheaper than it would in traditional supermarkets. The brain reacts instantly. Wow, that's a bargain. And the product goes straight into the basket. Even if the shopper never planned to buy it. Both Aldi and Lidl rely heavily on this psychology. But Lidl often pushes premium items slightly harder. Especially through themed food weeks. Italian week. Greek week. French week. Spanish week. Entire sections of the store transform overnight. And shoppers suddenly feel like they're discovering something exclusive. It's clever. It's exciting. And it works incredibly well. But this strategy also leads to something surprising about shopper behavior. People who shop at discount supermarkets sometimes spend more on luxury food than they expected. And that brings us to another hidden tactic inside both stores. Section 8, the store design secret. Have you ever noticed how quickly you move through Aldi or Lidl? That's not an accident. Their store layouts are engineered for speed and efficiency. Unlike massive supermarkets where customers wander for long periods, these stores are designed to keep people moving. Narrower aisles. Simple shelving. Minimal decoration. Everything serves one purpose. Fast shopping. Fast checkouts. Fast turnover. but hidden within that simplicity is a powerful psychological trick. The middle aisle placement. You can't miss it. Bright packaging. Unusual products. Limited time deals. Placed exactly where shoppers must pass through. Retail experts know this area generates enormous impulse purchases. Because when shoppers feel they've already saved money on groceries, they become more willing to spend on unexpected items. It's a clever balance. Save money on food. Spend a little on something fun. But which store uses this tactic more effectively? Surprisingly, it might be Lidl. Their constantly rotating promotions create a stronger sense of urgency. And urgency leads to faster buying decisions. But there's one final factor that truly determines which supermarket might save you the most money. Location. Section 9. The location effect. Here's something many shoppers overlook. Prices between Aldi and Lidl can actually vary depending on location. Different regions. Different competition levels. Different supply chains. All of these factors influence pricing. For example, in areas where both stores are close together, prices often drop slightly as each tries to attract more shoppers. But in places where only one of them operates nearby, prices can sometimes creep higher. It's a subtle form of local competition. And it means that cheapest supermarket may not be the same everywhere in the UK. In fact, some consumer comparisons have found that the winner changes depending on the city, the time of year, seasonal promotion, supply costs. So the debate over Aldi versus Lidl may never have a permanent answer. But one thing is certain. Both retailers have permanently reshaped the supermarket industry. And the big chains know it. Section 10. How Aldi and Lidl changed British shopping forever. Just a decade ago, many shoppers avoided discount supermarkets. Some believed the quality wasn't good enough. Others assumed cheap prices meant cheap products. But that perception has completely changed. Today, millions of households rely on Aldi and Lidl every week. Even middle-class and wealthy shoppers regularly visit them. And traditional supermarkets were forced to respond. Lower prices. More own-brand products. Price-matching campaigns. All because two discount chains rewrote the rules of grocery retail. But the biggest winner in this rivalry isn't Aldi. And it isn't Lidl. It's the customer. Because competition forces prices down. And in times when food costs continue rising, that competition matters more than ever. Final OUTRO, the verdict. So which supermarket is truly cheaper? The answer might surprise you. Sometimes it's Aldi. Sometimes it's Lidl. And often, the difference is so small that the real savings come from how you shop, not where you shop. Avoid impulse purchases. Watch weekly deals. Compare prices. And most importantly, stay aware of the tricks supermarkets use to influence your basket. Because once you understand those strategies, you're no longer just a shopper. You're a smart shopper. And that's when the real savings begin. If you enjoyed this investigation, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And tell us in the comments, Team Aldi or Team Lidl. Which one do you think